Hey, welcome to Matt Hunts Boston, my YouTube channel for 2023. I figured it's just about time to make a proper channel intro or trailer or whatnot. So, it's 2023. I got into hunting around 2016. I took my first hunter ed class and got all my gun licensing up to par and all that good stuff. So shortly after taking my initial class, getting my licensing squared away, and starting to learn a little about hunting on my own, I was interested enough to kind of continue my education in that field and become certified to teach hunter ed myself. And the biggest thing with hunter ed is it's not really there to teach you how to hunt per se and be successful at hunting. It's more there to teach people how to be safe while hunting, what laws are in place while hunting, so that we as a society can minimize accidents and misunderstandings, and make sure we're being safe. So hunter ed is more, I guess, the bureaucratic end of hunting, and it's not going to really teach you how to be a good and successful hunter. After your hunter ed course, it's super important to get out in the woods and start familiarizing yourself with the outdoors. But I will also say it's important to find some sort of mentor or guide, because one day spent with a guide or a mentor, is probably going to be far more beneficial than spending a year in the woods on your own, just because that mentor or guide is going to be able to transfer a lot of knowledge to you that you just, through trial and error, it's just going to take a long time. So a couple of reasons why we hunt. First and foremost, people hunt for the food. Just to give you an idea, most hunters have their freezer stocked full year round. Obviously hunters go grocery shopping, but it's always nice to know that you have like a roast or a steak or ground meat in your freezer at all times. So, through proper storage, you're always going to have a main course. So, that can, there is money associated with hunting, but, you do your math and, you're maybe $80 and you got maybe $500 worth of groceries done for you for the year. So food is first and foremost. Second, here in the United States, we follow what's called the North American model for conservation. Conservation is kind of the smart use of resources being used in a sustainable manner. So that style of conservation differs from what might be followed in a lot of other areas within the world. So for instance, in Europe or parts of Europe, animals such as deer might be considered the property of whoever the landowner is, wherever those deer reside. In North America, deer are considered a public resource, so no one owns those deer except the public as a whole. So that's why we have wildlife agencies that are in place to track and manage those populations, because we see them as a natural resource for our well-being and the public as a whole. So that's why when you're buying a hunting license, you're issued tags. Those tags are there to manage the population appropriately, and some years more tags may be available, some years less tags may be available, and that's there to ensure healthy populations, and to prevent overhunting and all that good stuff. So the other thing we do here in North America, Massachusetts in particular, which is where I reside, the funding from hunting licenses is used to purchase properties around the state. These properties are usually known as wildlife management areas, and basically, there's a lot of science into how to properly take care of animal populations. There's 4 parts to habitat. Obviously, one being water, another being food, another being open space, and another being cover. So I think the wildlife agencies focus on those 4 elements of habitat to make sure we're actually providing habitats to sustain natural wildlife populations. That might be an difference to something that might be known as preservation, where conservation, where we're actually taking an active effort to control our environment in a smart way, where preservation would be more, we want nature to do its thing, and the difference being, through conservation, we're probably able to raise larger, healthier wildlife populations, whereas through preservation, with the lack of something essential like water or food or cover, if we're lacking any of those 4 elements, then the animal density per square mile is going to be a lot less. So you might see that in like parts of Canada or Alaska, or somewhere not super close to society. Even though you have a lot more wild, in a place like Alaska, if you're actually looking per square mile, there's actually less animals because there's less resources available. Here in Massachusetts, the the deer per square mile closer to Boston is a lot higher than in the western part of the state. So you have a lot more open land and forest and woods in the western part of the state, but you actually have higher animal densities in the eastern part of the state. So so again, this channel is gonna be basically centric on hunting and outdoors. I've been doing this for many years now, and I've kind of got my yearly routine. Right now it is February. Forgive me if I'm not super enthusiastic and outgoing right now. I just had surgery very, very recently to remove my gallbladder, and I'm still in recovery. But the next season that's coming is the spring turkey season in Massachusetts, and obviously a lot of other parts of the country. And the wild turkey project, I guess you could call it, has been very successful. Wild turkeys were very, very low in population, and something called the NWTF, National Wild Turkey Federation, it is a conservation agency. They really did a spectacular job bringing the turkeys back, through I think the late 80s and 90s. So turkeys are just everywhere, and hunting is a very important part of that. Obviously, hunting is part of the management of healthy populations, and it's food for us. So my daughter and I have been working on building a turkey blind. If you're interested in following us through this journey this year, hopefully we get a turkey, but you know, obviously I'll be posting about that on my page. If you do not have a hunting license and you're interested in hunting, you know, the first step you're going to want to do is find your local wildlife agency, usually some sort of Department of Wildlife and Fisheries for each state, or in Canada, you know, there should be appropriate wildlife agencies. Those agencies usually offer hunter education courses free of charge. And that's the course you have to take. Those are usually scheduled courses, or they may be online now. But that will be your first step. Usually you need to take that course in order to purchase your hunting license. The certificate you get from completing that course successfully also usually will allow you to get a license to use a shotgun or a low capacity rifle. Obviously check your local rules. If you are not comfortable with firearms, obviously you know, archery is a pretty big option within the hunting community. A lot of hunters use archery only. So that would be a first step, is getting your hunter ed course completed. And again, that is usually completely free of charge, just requires a little time and effort on your part. Usually requires a couple of weeks of your time. And you know, if you're paying attention within the course, you know, the test is fairly simple. Most people pass. And from there you have a lot of options. You can, you know, take additional hunter ed courses. You know, they usually offer like bow hunter courses, which in some states are required if you want to use archery. They you know, offer sometimes like map and compass courses, trapping courses, you know, just pretty much you name it. Talk to your wildlife agency and they'll kind of tell you, you know, all about it. And then from there, you know, you definitely want to work on your marksmanship, you know, whatever instrument you're using for hunting, whether it be a shotgun or archery, or if you're in a different part of the country, you know, rifle. You owe it to the wildlife to be a good marksman, because, you know, obviously we want to be taking clean, ethical shots. So that's something you can start practicing sometimes even before you take your hunter ed course. If you have access to a range, or, you know, some private land, if you just want to shoot your bow at a target. So yeah, so my channel is just going to be, you know, kind of videos that I take throughout my life. We got turkey coming up, summer, not a whole lot going on except for, you know, target shooting a lot of times for me. You know, and then we got deer in the fall. You know, I primarily hunt deer and turkey, you know, occasionally some other game animals, but deer and turkey are mainly what I'm usually going after. So if anyone has any questions, obviously feel free to reach out to me. I've been actually adding videos to this channel for quite a long time, many years, but this year in particular I just started organizing it a little better, hopefully to be a little more useful and inspiring to people. Yeah, again, any questions, you know, just reach out. And if you are interested in hunting and you haven't taken a hunter ed course, that's the first thing you want to do. And then from there, you just got to learn to be a good hunter, which could take 10 to 20 years, no lie. But if you find a good mentor or guide, you know, maybe start with some references through whoever is teaching your hunter ed course. A lot of those guys are extremely passionate. You know, you'll likely be able to harvest your first game animal, you know, maybe within a year or two, you know, if you get a good mentor or guide. Yeah, any questions, again, just reach out.